Hi there. So here I am in my cloudlet. In this video, I'm going to show you how to become a million times more productive by combining artificial intelligence, OpenAI, and ChatGPT specifically with low code, software development, automation tools, specifically Aista. I'm the CEO of Aista and the owner, so I'm obviously biased for the record. However, it doesn't really matter. You can reproduce what I'm doing here and easily verify my claims. So here I am at my cloudlet, tiger-polterguide.gb.aista.com. I go to create, I go to databases, and let's say I have a task. Let's say I've been hired as a consultant to create an Uber competitor. Okay, let's call the database my Uber, right? Then let's edit this database. Let's go to SQL view. And let's ask OpenAI to create a database to administrate taxi drivers similarly to what database Uber would probably use. And then we need our database to be SQLite, create an SQLite database DDL, data definition language, to administer, to manage. It's very important that you're very specific with the AI prompt. Create an SQLite database DDL to manage taxi drivers similarly to whatever Uber would probably use. Okay, so let's figure out why that didn't work, and it's probably as simple as actually opening up our configuration and opening up OpenAI and regenerate my API key. I destroy my API keys after every YouTube video because I tend to show them to people. I mean, now you could copy and paste this API key here, right? Obviously, so I tend to destroy my API keys after every YouTube video, so I need to recreate a new API key that I'm using and then ask my question again. So let's see what OpenAI comes up with for us here now. And here we have drivers, trips. Let's make it more complex. Create an SQLite database DDL to manage taxi drivers, referencing associating drivers with countries, cities, and locations. Okay, we want something slightly more complex. And here we have drivers, okay, location, countries, okay, cities are referencing countries, and then we have locations, foreign key referencing cities, driver locations, okay, this is a many-to-many table. Let's just use this guy and let's just F5 to execute it, and then let's clear our server cache and let's have a look at our database. My Uber, 5 tables, drivers, and we have a many-to-many relationship between drivers and locations. I guess technically this could be a one-to-many, so each driver belonging to one location and then each location belonging to one city and then each city belonging to each country. So now we need some example data. Let's create SQL insert to statement. Create SQL insert that inserts 20 records into countries table. Let's see what its name here is. Countries, country name. Okay, with a column named country. I could probably phrase my questions better, I guess. But obviously I'm in a YouTube video now, so I'm not fully focused at the task. So now let's see what it inserted. Countries. Okay, US, Canada, Mexico. It didn't insert 20, but okay, we got 7. Then let's see what cities is called. City name and cities. Okay. Create SQL inserting 20 items into cities table with city name. And this way we could continue to populate our development database with example data, I guess. Now it's adding population, right? Until we have like a development data set that we can use to generate and test our app. I'm not going to continue doing this. I'm just going to go to the endpoint generator, then I'm going to choose my Uber database and click this button, and boom, I've got a backend web API wrapping this database, 1000 lines of code. If I now go to HyperID, choose modules, I choose my Uber, I can have a look at my web API here, and I can edit the code, and of course I can go to manage here, and I can find my Uber, and I can test my endpoints. If I now, for instance, invoke, let's see, my Uber countries gets here now, you will see that it contains all the 7 test countries I had OpenAI generate test data for me for. Then I can go to the front-end generator, and I can generate a front-end if I want to. However, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go back to the HyperID, and then I'm going to create a new file here called send complaint email.post.hl. Then when I have this file, I can ask OpenAI to create endpoint sending email for me. Hopefully this is going to work. And it does. I have argument name, email, send to, use. At this point, all I got to do is to move these guys down here, and then move these guys up here and name it complaints department, complaints at myuber.com, Alt S to save, and then let's have OpenAI show me how to add authentication and authorization. These are things you typically use Stack Overflow traditionally for, right? However, it's actually much faster, and you get a much faster feedback loop by using OpenAI instead. So I suspect this thing is going to significantly change the way we create software. Now, there are these memes about Stack Overflow that you only need 2 keys on your keyboard, which is copy from Stack Overflow and paste into my code base. Now, in a way, I suspect that OpenAI and AI in general, constructs such as GitHub Copilot and us, our machine learning prompt here too, will, to a large extent, completely replace these things. So I now have a send email endpoint. All I need to do now is to configure my SMTP server and have all CRUD operations, have send email. Let's say we want to create an HTML page. Okay, let's just delete all of these guys first. Let's create a new index.html page. And then let's ask the machine to create a nice looking HTML page for me for a website that allows people to order taxis. See what it comes up with here now. So I want to recap. I've designed my database model. I've generated my CRUD API. I've added a send email to complaints department HTTP endpoint. I don't know how many minutes I've spent so far. If I'd guess, I'd say it's like 10 or something. Now, if you open up and see what AI generated for us, cool. Pick up location, drop off location, number of passengers, order a taxi, and that's it. And it's even beautiful. Now, we need to modify the CSS a little bit here. We probably want to have the CSS in a CSS file, stuff like that, and etc. But the point is that we're now halfway through delivering this system to the end user, at the very least to the end client, the very least in an MVP, minimum viable product type of implementation. And I haven't written one line of code. Well, actually, I wrote one line of code. I did write one line of code, and that was, let me show it to you. No, actually, I didn't write that line of code either. Let me search here, send the complaint. I copied and pasted it. So I so far didn't write a single line of code. Now, if I go now to the front-end generator, let's say I want to have an administration app, admin my eBar, right? I want to have it purple, I want to use my eBar module, and then I want to generate it. Here now, I have a complete back office administration type of Angular front end automatically generated for me inside of etc. front ends, admin my eBar, source, app, components, my eBar cities, here's cities, HTML, CSS, and here's the TypeScript file. Here's how it looks like if I maximize. You can see here it automatically binds to city name, country ID, country ID, etc. Now, I'm not going to compile this because it takes 5 minutes to actually download it and compile it and get it up running locally and stuff like that. So let me just show you how it would typically look like. Here's an example application that was created in the exact same way. And this is roughly how the back office admin app looks like. Now, this is 15,000 lines of code. And my backend API is 1,000 lines of code. My HTML page is like, I don't know, lots of code. I didn't write a single line of code, right, myself manually. I only used the OpenAI and the web API generator and combined it with our own tools and did what, I mean, 2 years ago, creating this amount of code would cost me weeks of software development, and I did it live in a YouTube video in, I don't know, 15 minutes or something. So my belief is that artificial intelligence will not replace software developers. However, software developers with access and a willingness to use artificial intelligence in their software development jobs will replace other software developers not willing or able to use AI. And that is a pretty strong statement. However, I mean, there doesn't exist a single software developer on this planet, including Linus Torvalds and Alan Kay and Richard Stallman, that could have even vaguely come close to 1% of the productivity I illustrated in this YouTube video. And I didn't even write a single line of code myself. Still, yet now, after 15 minutes of YouTube, I have like 15 to 20,000 lines of code. That is like 3-4 months of work, even for somebody like Linus Torvalds and Alan Kay. So, anyways, There's a link in the description if you want to register or sign up at aista.com. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.